Good morning, Mike Learn from Mike Learn Airbrush and Mike Learn Guitars. Going to share with you guys some of the past couple months of work here. A lot of guitar builds, a lot of spec builds, and a lot of personal builds for myself. We're going to start off with this really interesting guitar here. This is a double neck icon that has a 6-string and a 10-string configuration. It's got a bunch of goodies on it, like the Floyd upgrades, the FU tone upgrades, bridge. We're going to have a bunch of PMS mounting systems on this. But this particular guitar was a challenge. Marcus Hummel, the owner of the instrument, owns a company called the Peacekeeper. And basically, the Peacekeeper is a functioning quick change effect system that's based off of the AR-15 magazine. So these effects are inside this plastic mag, and they basically kind of connect into what would be similar to like the AR-15 lower magwell. And on this particular instrument, that area is right here. So throughout here, we're going to have 2 receptacles for his magazines and effect systems, and it will basically be able to plug in 2 modules while you're sitting down and playing. And he has all sorts of different variations on those effects modules. It's a very interesting thing. Check them out at peacekeeper.com, I believe it is.
Peacekeeperguitars.com.
Yes, peacekeeperguitars.com. And a lot of cool stuff. But this particular build was challenging in many different ways. One, first off, was getting all the electronics to control everything. Secondly would have been the supplemental 4 strings on top of the 6, getting them to break over the bridge and still want to stay in the saddle slots. It could possibly use a retainer on those. I'm not sure I'm going to do it yet. I'm going to see how well it holds and plays over the next few days while we're waiting for the case to be designed and made for it. So. But the interesting aspects of the paint job on this are, of course, the Warbird paint scheme featuring a rendition of Marcus's girlfriend on the upper shoulder of the instrument. And we came up with the name Double Trouble. Now, this particular instrument had a history of growth as far as the conceptual aspects of it. The guitar originally started off as an idea of having the body shaped like a snake coiled on itself, and with a bass 4-string and also a guitar 6-string on there. Now, I've never really been a fan of double necks that don't have symmetry in the headstock. To me, it just doesn't look right. So that's reason one why I was like, well, I could probably make that work with the bass. I could set the neck to the body so that the headstocks would be the same, and they would be at the same point. That would have taken a little bit of figuring on the fly while we were building it. Later on, Marcus changed it back to a 10-string and to a 6-string, so I had to reconfigure, toss a few necks that I built, and build a few more necks. And I actually used one of the necks that was originally designed for this as a bass on one of these instruments here. So Chatty wants to get into the conversation. She doesn't know what's going on, but our friendly little household cat is curious as to why we're down here talking. But anyways, on this particular instrument, challenging to get the symmetry out of the headstock. So the strings are actually loaded through the back side of this headstock on the 10-string side and go through, feed through, and then the tuners are on the back side. Now this all affects strap pin position. Things like this as you're building this instrument where you haven't really built one before. I've built double necks, but I have not built one in this fashion based upon a Strat style icon body. So there was a lot of little things I had to work out on the fly. And, quite honestly, that's the reason why a lot of people come to me for these custom build instruments, because a lot of people who build instruments, they have their assigned models, they have these models, and they don't want to deviate from them, and I get it. It takes a lot of work to do all this engineering and considerations on the fly to make these instruments, practical and functioning. So this one was a challenge in many ways. Of course, the paint is always the easiest portion for me to deal with. I find that, especially this warbird theme stuff, I do quite a bit of it. And, this one isn't necessarily factually or historically documented or, accurate. This one is kind of based on a little bit of, creative, I guess you would say nonfiction, right?
Historical fiction.
Historical fiction, right. So we had a lot of fun with this one. It has a lot of really nice components on it. Joe Stomminger pickups all the way around, the FU tone bridge, a lot of push-pull circuitry to activate the functioning amplifier, and also the Peacekeeper modular effect systems. So that's it on that one. I'm waiting for a really big case to show up so I can ship this back to Marcus. So a while ago, we also shared videos. Actually, you know what? I think I'll talk about the customer's bass here, the whiskey bass. So I had this customer, Jim Bogley, out of Bogley Marine. I think it's Minnesota, is it maybe? But anyways, he wanted this particular bass built for his nephew, and his nephew's name is Brandon Morris. And so we took the Buffalo Trace whiskey, bourbon whiskey, and we kind of cultivated it into a design that would be functioning as a bass player. Now the thing about this type of instrument is getting enough balance on this body because of the neck positioning and everything. Trying to get accessibility into this particular instrument on upper registry. The paint job was, for me, pretty much straightforward. There's a lot of videos with this particular paint job available, I believe, on YouTube, our YouTube channel as well. We have documentation on the vector aspects of this as well. This one was a 34-inch scale bass. It has a quarter-sawn maple neck throughout the backside and really nice Macassar ebony fingerboard. Simple controls, bass and volume, bolt-on with recessed. The headstock has the kind of cap at the bottle, airbrush with the Learn logo. But this one is very simple, featuring Claymore pickups. Has really good response. And yeah, customers looking forward to getting it. We are also waiting for a case on this one because the first one to ship to us got damaged in shipping. So the company that provided the case is actually sending us another one out right now. So hopefully this one will get to its new owner very soon. Oh, hey, what's up, chats? Come up, check things out. Oh, okay. All right, let's see what's going on over here. Okay, I'm going to put that one back. And one of them that we featured in earlier videos, this was a bass that I built for the ZZ Top tribute band that I am in. This one features DiMarzio pickups, a Billy Bob body that was actually a guitar body, and it's so gross and greasy right now because I've been playing the hell out of it. But Matt at Texas Toast supplied me with this body, which was originally designed for a guitar. I filled the whole pickup area on it, and that was the only thing that was really routed was for the pickups. So I filled that, and then I put in this DiMarzio pickup, went with a really nice 4-string bridge. I created this little metal tailpiece out of a section of a motorcycle tank, and then it has a little tab on the back that allows it to be pinned down by the strap pin here. All of my instruments that I play, all the instruments I build for myself, very simple. Volume, and very rarely, but with the bass, I find myself putting a tone knob on them. But if this was a guitar, I probably wouldn't have any tone knob on it whatsoever, as I like things very simple. I don't like fiddling with my instruments in the middle of a song, in between songs. I like to just keep it very, very simple, one less thing to worry about. So this one here is actually a 32-inch scale, which I like the 32-inch scale because I don't have to reach out way out in this direction to reach the notes like an F on the low E string. Getting these things set up has been interesting, and this particular one was built with baked maple neck. It wasn't quarter sawn, but it was not quite slab cut. I'm going to say it's almost a 45 degree on that. So I went with a little bit thicker profile, so I ensured a little bit more stability on the neck. And then the paint job, of course, is based off of Texas license plates. It was one of my class projects in Texas a few years ago with the Airbrush Art Circus. And I thought it was appropriate for this one here. One second. Let me see who's trying to sell me auto insurance right now. Oh yeah, somebody in Hudson, Colorado. Bye-bye. So anyways, this thing's done. It's playing. I like it. This one I have a 110 set on it, a little heavier string gauge, and I find myself leaning towards the 105 set as far as my favorite on the other instruments that I'm working on. And finally, this thing's nice because you can grab it from just about any direction. This is the Fubar bass, and I get a lot of questions as to why. What were you smoking that day, Mike, when you came up with this particular project? But I can tell you that I wasn't smoking anything, and I had an idea, I had a vision, and I had an opportunity to build an instrument with my 3D design program that I use. Tinkercad I use quite a bit, and Fusion 360, and so I designed this whole bass on my 3D printer and basically did a pre-assembly on it, making sure everything was going to mock up. And I've, of course, along the way had a lot of questions and concerns that it was looking like a catamaran or a sailboat or a pontoon boat. But my original vision was to be something late 19th century, kind of architectural, industrial feel to it, and kind of almost this one I designed more off of a locomotive paint scheme. But I'm doing some variations on this in the future, and I will be selling these. I'm going to focus on this particular instrument because it has a lot of really positive attributes to it as an instrument. I can build this as a guitar, I can build this as a bass, I can build a double neck like this too, so these become modular. But the next one I'm going to build is going to be a bass. It's going to be made to look like a piece of John Deere farm equipment from the 30s or 40s. It's going to be green, have yellows and colors on it that would be indicative of that particular franchise. The bass here has 50 caliber shell casings used for the volume knob. This one I put no tone knob on it, and I'm quite frankly very happy with the tone. The single coil pickup on this thing's very responsive, and the instrument itself is very responsive and very resonant despite what you would consider a lack of wood. But it's very well designed, very well engineered, and it certainly is one of the most unique pieces of musical equipment that I have ever built. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops. I'm going to work with it for a while. So this will be one of my main guitars, probably going to be my main bass in the ZZ Top tribute band El Loco Fandango. Again, this one is a 32-inch scale. This one features a V-style back. It's kind of a V shape. It comes to more of a point. This is a quarter sawn piece of maple, so I was able to get away with a little less thickness on the backside, so a little more comfortable, very easy to play, oiled neck, paint job, and everything. This thing weighs just about 6 pounds. It's very deceptive. When I hand it to people, they think it's going to weigh like 20 pounds because it looks like a big heavy piece of machinery. But it's actually very lightweight, very ergonomic to play, very comfortable, nice. A lot of considerations were made prior to actually building this instrument because of all the things that I am always concerned with as a player and someone who enjoys sitting around in the evening noodling. Especially these days, I'm playing bass pretty much all the time. I play very little guitar anymore, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the change. So this instrument has actually been in design for the past year, and it was an opportunity to work with my 3D printer, and I wanted to see how I could integrate that into my design flow as a musician and luthier. And this is what we have. And my buddy Casey, who does custom build work for BC Rich down in, what's the name of the town down there?
North of Pueblo, I don't know.
Yeah, south of Colorado Springs, I can't remember. Fountain, Colorado. So he built these braces for me off the file I sent them. He actually cut these out of wood. So this is all wood. This is actually a PVC. And everything's anchored very securely. These things are glued into mortises along the side of the body section. So they're very strong, both torsional and along the latitude of this instrument. But yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with this particular design. It looks good on person. Very lightweight, balances, and sounds phenomenal. So that's the wrap up for the instruments. Am I forgetting anything? I'm sure I am.
I'm sure you are. But,
I always do.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, these are 4 of the instruments that I built in the last couple of months. And I have another bass that's actually being built right now. I have a few Flying V's that will be built, and we'll be sharing those with you in the future as well. So for today, I think that's a wrap. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them below, and check us out at mikelearn.com and learnairbrushtore.com for our airbrushes, equipment, shirts, apparel, posters. Have a good one.